Hello, welcome to welcome to Alexis and Melinda's art space. I'll get it right one day. What do you see on my desk other than a mess of chipboard? I've been cleaning out boxes and trying to organise today, and I found a box of really old stuff from like, I'm going to embarrass myself, but I had these, I believe when I had my shop, and okay, let's just say 10 plus years ago. Yeah, I know I had these in my shop. I'm pretty sure these are from my shop. They were definitely from my shop. I had for those of you who don't know, I had a retail scrapbooking store till I had my daughter an odd 10 years ago, and I had to give up my retail store because I had a baby. She was great when she lied in the pram and good and guarded all the customers. She'd come to work with me a few days a week. It was lovely until she started to crawl and walk. Then she was a little pain in the bottom, so I had to close my retail store, and it just wasn't working. And I wanted to be a mum. I didn't want to be a mum that stuck my daughter in childcare 5 days a week to work. So I found all these, and in the back of my mind, I'm wanting to do Joanne Leigh's birthday challenge. I'm not really a tag person. I'm much happier bigger. Much happier doing bigger things. Give me a huge canvas to work on. I'm happy as a pig in mud. Give me a small ATC card or a tag and I'll stare at it for a week and you won't get a challenge entry, Joanne, so I hope you don't mind. So she wanted inspirational quotes, and she did say she doesn't mind how we present them. So I've picked up a quote that I want to use, and I've decided to do this quote: stop hating yourself for everything you aren't and start loving yourself for everything you already are. I think that's just a gorgeous quote. I don't know who it's from. I just popped up on when I searched inspirational quotes on Google, and I've got this large canvas. Hang on, I'll move all these letters. So I've got this large canvas that is 30 by 40 centimeters. So I haven't done canvases for a while. I'm itching to do some big stuff. I haven't done canvases or mixed media for quite a while, so Joanne, you're my guinea pig. Hope you don't mind. So, and going through this box, found all these letters that some of them have got like not many, like this one's got hardly any vowels left, so they're basically not useful for much. So I'm going to go through them and pull out that quote onto the canvas. So, and it doesn't matter what colour, because I'm going to be painting all these, so it doesn't matter if it's raw, it doesn't matter if it's pink, doesn't matter if it's orange. I'm going to be painting it all. So this is a size canvas, barely fits in the frame of the camera. So I'm going to put the quote in the middle. Then I also found some really old, I'm all about using up old stuff. I've got oodles of stuff from my shop and different things. So I found these are really old from my shop as well. Half a packet. I also found these Mayor Road fresh chipboards, which are the flowers I may use. She likes cutesy stuff, so I thought flowers and butterflies. Also found these big things, big flowers. These I had in my retail store as well. And basically, what do you put these big flowers on apart from big stuff? So this was all sort of falling together like these. So I'm going to go and switch the camera off and play with all my letters, because that will be a very laborious task trying to fit them all, A, fit them all in, B, find all the letters, and C, stick the buggers down. Not sure whether I'm going to do any texture paste in the background. I would like to, but I'm going to see how big the letters are the main focus, so the quote's the main focus, so I want to do that first. So I'm going to go and do that. I don't know whether I'm going to stick it down. I'm going to see how much room it takes up, and then I'll be back. She also likes Shabby Chic vintage, so this is going to be like a Shabby Chic canvas. So, yeah. Let's stop it there, because I'm rambling. Let's go and set up all the letters, see how much room I've got to play with. I may play with a few of the other bits and come back and show you. So, that is what I'm doing today on my weekend. I'll be back soon. Okay, so I sat there and picked all the letters out and put them on the canvas. They're not stuck on yet. I've been sitting here for a while umming and ahhing whether I need a bigger canvas, but I don't really want to do a bigger canvas. And I don't really have smaller letters. Yes, I could go cut them on my laser machine, but trying to use up the stuff I have. So go cutting new letters on my laser machine would be a bit pointless. So I think I'm going to go with it. But I think I want some texture or something in the background. So my idea is, because I've got 2 butterflies on there, and I just needed something down the bottom, so I just pulled these petals off one of the flowers in one of the packs. They're just chipboard pieces. So I'm going to take a butterfly stencil and I'm going to stencil some butterflies in the background. And I want to sort of edge come in about an inch around the edge and just lay some texture paste down, and then I'm going to press some of this in just to give it a texture to see if it'll work. Now I'm going to do that all on camera so I can show you how I do that. That's my idea anyway. But I'm sitting here looking at this going, I don't want alphabet soup. And what I mean by that is I don't want to take all the letters off and then try to piece them back together. So I just picked up a second canvas. What did I do with it? Sorry about that. Put it in the kitchen. Went to get a drink and put it in the kitchen. La la. Second canvas. See, I know why I buy things in 2s now. So I can do my texture paste in that on this canvas, and then I can just transfer each word and stick them down onto this canvas instead of having alphabet soup to put back together. Now I realised why these are still sitting here 10 years later, these alphabet stacks, and why I hate them. Because you always run out of the common letters. As you can see, some of the words are all mixed up because I ran out of letters. So I haven't even made a dint in these. These, I believe, were Heidi Swap. I think these are Heidi Swap. Someone correct me if I'm wrong. I'm sure these were Heidi Swap letters. They're supposed to be self-adhesive, but they were never good in the day anyway. And as you can see, the whole self-adhesive things come off and they're not sticky at all. I suppose what do you expect after 10 years? They were never very self-adhesive anyway from day dot. So I made a little bit of a dint in the letters. Still got loads of letters left. So what I might do is do a couple more canvases and just use them as texture in the background when I can't spell any more words. Then I might even use the negative bits. Cut those up. That'd be cool texture. Make a good stencil too. So I have, yeah, a butt ton of these. And I still have loads of other ones. So one of my goals, sorry about the rustling, one of my goals this year was to make 2 canvases. So if I make this one, I can mark one off my list and it's only February. Yay! I have all these big canvases there and I just haven't done it for a while and I do enjoy it. So, okay, I'll go get texture paste and everything ready. I'll move this out of the way and I shall return. And you can see me texture pasting things. I'm very excited. I'm hoping it's not too, the wording's not too big, but I think once I get the texture paste and a bit of interest in the background and a sort of a frame around the edge, I think it's going to work. I want the quote to be the main thing. I may put something around the edge of the canvas, as in, I don't know what yet, as in something. Not lace, sort of, I don't know, something. Well, we'll see. Okay, it's texture paste time. So just using some really old texture paste, I'm wanting to use it up. It's one I got from a cheap shop and it's not my favourite, and because about 3/4 of the jar is gone, a lot of air gets in the jar and it's drying out, so it's a bit harder than I would like. So scraping it through the butterfly stencil, and that's one of the designs from my store. Not sure whether that one's on the website yet. I do need to do a big website upgrade. Just got to find more than 24 hours in my day. So if anyone knows how to do that, let me know. So scraping it through with a credit card and just moving, and I'm sorry my head gets in the way, it's really hard to see where the texture paste is when you put white texture paste on a white canvas. So this is just going directly onto the canvas. It is a pre-gessoed canvas, but I'm going to gesso it anyway, so I didn't see the point of putting more gesso on it before I texture pasted. So now just working on the edges, so I just wanted to define the edges of the canvas a bit, so just scraping some, sort of getting quite thick at the edge and then sort of putting it, tapering it off, if that's the word I'm looking for. And then my idea is to push some texture into the texture paste just to add some interest. So I love how this canvas turns out in the end. It's beautiful and has gone off to its new owner, and she has enjoyed it as well. So now I'm just showing you there the texture paste. So it's not one I'd particularly buy again, that particular brand. I'm umming a lot at the moment. Just pressing some of this Australian drywall tape into it, and it just makes a really subtle sort of cross-hatching pattern. And now I let that dry for quite a few hours before I can paint it or stick the letters. Okay, so I've sat there literally for the last hour and stuck all the letters on. Look! They won't fall off. So I don't know whether you can see the... Yeah, you can sort of see the butterflies. Can you see the... I'll put some close-up photos when I'm finished. You can see the netting around the edge, so I'm really, really pleased with it. Now is the fun bit. No. Now is the next step. Gesso. Because I'm wanting to spray this with sprays to colour it. I now have to sit here painstakingly and gesso every surface. The reason I didn't gesso to start with, because the texture paste and the canvas and the chipboard react differently, and I've done this before. So if you're going to spray like I'm going to do the next step, gesso everything, because the different surfaces react differently to the sprays. So now I get to sit here with my Montmark gesso with a good movie on and possibly give it 2 coats. Because these are shiny and dark and I don't want them too dark, I may have to give it 2 or 3 coats. Yes, so 2 or 3 coats of gesso and I shall return. Okay, so I'm back with my canvas for Joanne Leigh's birthday challenge. So I sat there last night while a movie was on and did 3 coats of gesso. The reason I had to do 3 coats is because I had black and brown chipboard letters that had a shiny surface on them. I should have given them a bit of sand first, sanding them to take the shininess off so the gesso would stick, but 3 coats later it's all white. Now my idea is to paint it in pretty pink Craft paint all over. And then I'm going to spray it. This is a red, but it is I just test sprayed it and it is coming out of pink. This spray I found in my stash, spritzing ink with shimmer, cardinal red, but it is going pink. And then I'm wanting to, I think, bring some, I also picked out this, so I don't know whether I'm going to put some spearmint like accents on it, and then I want to put some silver accents on it as well. Not sure what I'm going to do around the edge yet. I may put some lace or some trim. I'm not at that stage yet, but that'll be sort of an after thing after it's all painted. So I'll go ahead and give it a coat of pretty pink. I may even give it 2 coats, and then I'll be back and I'll actually film the process of me doing the accents with the spearmint and the spraying, because that's really cool to see. But you particularly don't want to see me just painting, covering the entire surface with 1 or 2 coats of the pretty pink Craft paints. So I'll go do that and I'll be back. Hope you're enjoying my process. I was going to film it all, but it's a bit repetitive, like doing 3 coats of gesso. You don't need to see that. Doing a full coat of pretty pink. So I'm just saving the special decorative bits for you to see in a process video. 3 coats on of the pretty in pink Craft paint. The Craft paint covers really nicely, and at the moment I'm just adding some of the spearmint accents. just doing a dry brush technique I can't talk today, and just trying to hit the highlights or the top of the letters and the top of the texture paste. So just giving that a bit of a go. Excuse the truck. Trucks always pull up when I tend to do voiceovers. So just wanting to sort of hit all the letters, and not a full coverage, just sort of a, I know it's a bit hard to see because the film, the camera is quite zoomed out, but you can see it at the end, more in the close-up pictures. So this took me several hours in total to make, and I've managed to get it down to, I'm just looking at the time, 25-minute video, but it probably took me, including drying time, I did this over a weekend, so it probably could have taken me close to 4 to 6 hours, but it was a labour of love. I so enjoyed it. So now just adding some spray with the ink spray that I got, and holding up the canvas because I wanted to drip and sort of collect in different areas. So just dripping it. Make sure when you do this you've got some paper underneath that you can drip onto it. Loving the drips. Also adding a bit of water as well to make it more, the ink disperse more and run. I love spraying the inks on and hitting it with water, and then it sort of runs around the letters and through the letters, and it sort of pools in particular places. So giving that a dry with my heat gun. It does dry a lot lighter, that spray, the cardinal red spray, than I would have liked, but I still like the effect. So then I grabbed some silver rub and buff. It's basically like a thick metallic paint, and this one is several years old, and unfortunately it is all dried up in a cap. So I then decide to open up the other end, and I managed to get enough for this project. So this rub and buff, obviously the lid wasn't put on properly, and it has been in storage, this one, for several years. That's the problem I'm having. I've moved several times in the last few years, and I don't pack my art supplies correctly. They basically just get all shoved in a box haphazardly. So unfortunately not using these sort of supplies, like your rub and buff and your paints and things, they tend to dry out, which is a big waste, because this rub and buff can be quite expensive. So just rubbing a bit on the edges of the canvas, and sort of hitting some of the highlights of the letters and of the texture paste, just wanting to give it a bit of highlight as well. So yeah, unfortunately this rub and buff mostly dried up, and I've had to throw out the rest of the container, which is a bit of a waste and a shame. I don't like doing that. Hence why this year I'm doing a lot of sorting and trying to put like with like. So we've got a huge box of paints, so every brand, whether they're my gel plate paints or my good paints, they're all going into a box. All my inks are getting collected together, and then I will use them a lot more. And I'm also rediscovering a lot of things that I thought I didn't have anymore. Things like the chipboard letters, as we're just adding more rub and buff. And I find doing the rub and buff with your finger, it's so much better than trying to do it with a brush or any other tool. Fine with the chipboard letters, even though they are not adhesive anymore and they were never good to begin with, they're something that will sit there for 20 years and be stored. But unfortunately, unfortunately other things like your rub and buff or your paints and your liquids and stuff don't last as long. So this has sort of gone through an ugly stage. I tend to do that with canvases. I tend to start loving it, add something else, goes to an ugly stage, and then it goes to a good stage. So I felt I put a bit too much silver on here, and it was sort of detracting from the overall effect of it. So here I've decided, been rummaging through my lace boxes and found this sort of cream rope. So I have decided to put some of this cream rope around the edge of the canvas. I do like to edge my canvases, and sometimes I'll use like a Chinese braid Sometimes I don't use lace, like flat things. I like them to be a bit dimensional, so that when you see it from the front of the canvas, when you're only seeing the side of the braid or the lace, you can actually still see some of the dimension of it. So the rope, just, I don't know, I found it and I thought, oh, that'd be perfect. So just hot gluing that around with some hot glue, just doing little pieces at once, because my hot glue gun tends to, if you put out too much of it, it doesn't like it. It tends to dry or go cold and then it won't glue on. So I've also used around some of my canvases when I was doing them, I was into them in a big way a few years ago, and I've sort of moved on to more art journaling at the moment, but I must get back to the canvases. Also use Christmas trim as well. You know how at Christmas time you can buy those buckets of, like, they're round balls and they've got like a string holding them all together and they're like for a Christmas tree? I often use those on the edge of a canvas because they look really cool as well. Obviously they're in Christmas colours, so some of the colours do go well, but other times you do need to paint them. And I will do that also if the braid or the trim or the Christmas ball, little Christmas trim, beaded trim, is not the right colour. I will glue it on and I will change its colour with gesso and then do it the same colour as the canvas. So just working on the corner here, sorry I'm a bit out of frame, it was a bit hard to see. So just tying a knot and wanting, there's a little bit of blank space on that top, excuse me, that top right hand corner, so just wanting those to dangle down to the front of the frame, just to sort of bring that rope to the front as well. So just playing with the placement of that, gluing it into a couple of pieces and just sort of hanging it off. If you tend to do that to bring the edge around to the front, it sort of gives a bit more continuity as well. So then I went through and found some flowers and some beaded wheat sprays, which are the pink ones you can see there, and just deciding to make a flower cluster, and the rope is sort of going through the flower cluster. Using my hot glue again. The hot glue gun is great for all this three-dimensional stuff. It sticks really well, really quickly, and it's great for lumpy stuff because you can sort of put a blob of glue under the lumpy stuff and still stick it on. I do apologise for my voice, it's going a bit funny at the moment. Too many voiceovers all together. But I am wanting to get this video up because my Joanne has received her challenge, and now I'm free to put this video up, and I didn't want to spoil the surprise. So just fussing around, and then I decide to balance it on the opposite corner, the bottom left hand corner, just with a smaller cluster of the same sort of things. So some flowers, some wheat sprays, some little rosebuds. As I said, I really enjoy doing these canvases, and I have got several really early on in my YouTube life. So if you go right to the start of my channel or just search canvases, they will come up. Usually I do a lot of name canvases as well for when Alexis is getting invited to birthday parties. I would do the child's name and make it all pretty and different things. Put different things on it. But I loved working again with these flowers and wheat sprays and robe. It was really good. So I do have some still photos at the end, some close-ups, so you'll be able to see a bit more of the texture and a bit more of what I am doing. Just fussing around. With the clusters, I like a couple of big focal points and then a few more, sort of a longer focal points, and then a few little flowers tucked in here and there. Just showing you the side of the rope. So then I decided that the cream stood out too much and there was no cream actually on the canvas to tie the rope in. And the silver was bothering me at this stage. I told you I was going through an ugly stage. So I decided to grab some heavy body acrylic paint this is from Spotlight quite a few years ago. Everything's quite old, that's my channel. It's old stuff I'm using. But any heavy bodied acrylic paint or any acrylic paint in the cream, and just decided to add and touch some highlights as well. So this brought the cream rope colour into the main part of the canvas and tied it all together, and that's the finishing touch it needed. So just again using a dry brush and just hitting different parts and of it, some butterflies in the back and some of the letters, just to give it a bit of a highlight and a bit more interest. And you'll see me flipping the canvas up and moving it all around just to catch the light and see what it does. So I'll leave you with some still photos. Some are better than others. I actually hung it on my wall to photograph, and then I decided to take some detailed ones of the clusters to show you. So thank you for watching. I'll leave you with a few more of the clear still photos. If you want to hit that like button, if you want to see more canvases on my channel, if you want to subscribe, and thank you very much for watching. Bye for now.